Welcome back to 5 a.m. Story Talk. I'm Cole Haddon, and today I've got another Hollywood horror story for you, though this one's a bit different than what I usually do because this one is a real-life ghost story. Kind of. With a twist ending that will leave you screaming, or laughing, or maybe both. Both would make sense, given how I wasted 6 months of my life on the TV project I'm going to be talking about, writing well, I don't want to give away what happens, but it's easily one of the dumbest things to happen in my screenwriting career. As I like to say, my pain is your entertainment, but also, hopefully, education. Quickly though, before I dive in, if you get a kick out of this app, maybe even learn something from it, be sure to hit subscribe. The best place to do that is at 5am Story Talk at Substack, where you'll also get access to hundreds of other storytelling articles to help you grow as a screenwriter, as an author, as an artist of any kind. Be sure to take advantage of the comment sections wherever you're listening to. I'm here for you if you have any questions. Okay, let's get started with a little spooky music, a little atmosphere to set the scene, because this is a screenwriting tale about the time I sold a TV horror project and made it multiple drafts into the pilot process before discovering the real reason my employer's notes had proven so impossible to answer. I used the term employer here rather than identify the specific studio, network, streamer involved. You get why, I'm sure. The time period, 11 years ago, back when the world still mostly made sense. The setting, Hollywood, an industry that also still mostly made sense, though there were more than a few signs that the party wouldn't last forever. The setup, I'm hot off a TV series I created called Dracula, which premiered in 2014 on NBC and Sky. It was a complete shit show, easily the worst creative experience of my life, which you can learn more about if you're curious by heading to the episode notes and checking out the links there. I'm only just beginning to emotionally recover from the trauma of that experience at this point, the abuse I went through, but my career has been going strong ever since the series' cancellation was announced. Nobody else knows what really happened, my manager tells me. The best thing I can do is take credit for getting my first TV show up and get as much work as I can off of it. And it's worked, too, because I'm 3 TV pilots in already, 2 of which I sold while Dracula was still on the air, which blows my mind, because I wouldn't have hired me after watching what showed up on screens, definitely not what I set out to create in my defense, but I'm told I have different standards than most. This is where I'm at in my career when I pitch and am hired to write an adaptation of a hot new European TV series. This series, which will remain nameless, has fantastical elements, but not supernatural ones, called a horror series driven by ancient mythology, but with lots of heart. Something Guillermo del Toro would make, or so I flatter myself. I complete a first draft of the pilot script much faster than anyone expects, which I attribute to the thoughtful development conversations that preceded me sitting down to write. The producers love it. I'm a golden god, according to them. Every screenwriter enjoys this feeling, probably because we know it's inevitably short-lived. Then we hear from my employers, the best kind of news, too. Oh, we love it, Cole. Love it. Everybody at this table in this office, we all love it. Everything about it. We just have one teensy little note. No problem. After Mr. Smiley, the villain of my Dracula nightmare, notes no longer frighten me. Nothing will ever be that bad again, so I genuinely look boisterous when I hear this news. Of course, hit me. But the notes turn out to be only one note, which is a crazy thing to hear. We all agree here. It just needs to be scarier. We just need to dial up those scares, okay? I complete a second draft in less than a week. I love the script and I love working on it. But when it goes into my employer, the same note is repeated. Something's missing from your script, but all of us, we just can't put our finger on what it is. They're not willing to pay for another step to find out the right words either. In case that jargon doesn't make sense to you, most US pilot deals are for 2 steps, or drafts, but it's incredibly common for producers and employers to push you well beyond that, taking advantage of their writers despite WGA warnings against doing this. My agent tells me, listen, bro, you're going to have to go the extra mile for these guys here, even if no money's involved. You have to get this right, bro. You're at a dangerous place in your career, bro. You get that, right? All that energy coming off Dracula, it's running out. Bro, So I get to work, which honestly, I would have done anyway without the grim pep talk. In this new draft, I clarify the rules in the script, making sure I hit the nail on the head here or there so later I can dial it back once my employer finally gets it. More scares, too. Somehow, the emotionality of the story is even ringing truer than I expected at this point. So I'm feeling pretty damn good about myself and the script. I then share it with 2 trusted showrunners to get their thoughts on it, laying out 10 minutes of notes I hope realistically reflect my employer's needs. The feedback is, the script is solid, exciting, and incredibly original. When I share it with my producers, they agree too. They seem over the moon with the work and grateful my employer pushed me as hard as they have. If I'm honest, I am too, because this pilot script, it's great if I, do say so myself. With everyone on the same page, we submit the new draft to my employers and wait. A week later, we're summoned, me, the producers, even the studio, to their windowless meeting room to talk again. Uh-oh. Thanks for all the great work, Cole. We all agree, all of us. You have done some great work. We just don't feel you've understood our notes at all, even though the producers and studio are confident we do, and I have completely nailed answering them. Nope. Sorry, you're all wrong, all of you, which is fair. They did pay for the script. My employer then begins to throw out new thoughts about how to address the note we've been told we don't understand at all. If you're an established screenwriter, you know how this goes at this point. Okay, let me pitch you the bad idea here. Pro tip, anyone doing this never thinks it's a bad idea when they say this. In my employer's case, their pitch regarding more scares is this. What if our protagonist comes home and a door bangs upstairs? Let's make the audience really jump out of their seats. At this point, I sense something is truly amiss. Beside me, the producers and studio head look similarly confused. Why does the door bang? I ask carefully. My employer, in a tone that suggests this is why they get paid the big bucks, says, the ghost. What ghost? The ghosts in the house. I lean slowly forward. But there is no ghost. At this point, things get incredibly awkward and my team leaves. Well, this has been great. It takes a few more days, but we finally find out what happened. As it turns out, my employers hadn't paid much attention to my actual pitch for this show. They'd been shown a commercial for the foreign language TV series and basically bought that and gambled that this hot new writer could adapt it for an English-speaking audience. The problem, the commercial had somehow, erroneously, inexplicably, led them to believe they were buying a haunted house series filled with ghosts. Lots and lots and lots of ghosts. The kind that bang doors upstairs to scare the shit out of people, I guess. Put another way, my employer was giving me notes on the TV series they thought they bought, which had no relationship to the actual source material or my pitch. Not in the slightest. Consequently, there were no more drafts, but the writing sample all this produced got me a couple more jobs. So that's at least something, right? That's it for this week, Story Talkers. If you have any questions about what I just discussed, be sure to take advantage of the comments sections to ask them, especially at 5 a.m. Story Talk at Substack, where there's a vibrant community of artists and art fanatics waiting for you. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts if you want more 5 a.m. Story Talk to show up in your life. 5-star reviews at places like Apple really make a world of difference to this podcast success. See you next week, my friends.